All right, I pushed back the due date for this assignment till tonight, Sunday night, and I should have gotten this video out to you. I admit it, a little bit sooner than Sunday morning, but we're going to go for still Sunday for getting this out, which is just a quick walkthrough of using Truffle and the Truffle Quick Start to build the Metacoin project. Here's the website. If you look for Truffle Metacoin, it's the second thing under Truffle Quick Start, and I've clicked on that. And they've built a basically hello world type of a contract that you can build off of. And it's, we're going to make a directory. We're going to follow the directions to make a directory. And we're just going to unbox it. It should pull it in from the web. The nice thing about the Metacoin project is not because the contract is particularly good, but because it is there and you can verify that you've actually gotten the tools installed. It's definitely a hello world type of a thing. This is not a creative project. This is just a walk through the code and make certain that it is working type of a thing. So Truffle unbox Metacoin. This will actually use NPM internally to go out and pull in the tiny little Metacoin project, which is like a 10-line contract. And when you get done, you should have something that looks like this with contracts, migrations test, and a Truffle config. And inside the Truffle config, you'll notice that there is basically nothing in there. Everything is to default, but this should be enough to get us off the ground. And it also will walk through what's in contracts, that's where the Solidity file, migrations, what is a migration, the deployment file, a test, and a Truffle configuration file. So what you should do at this point is go and edit all the files and see what's in them. The one that I'm going to start with is actually the contract. And there's two files in there. There's a Metacoin, and there is a migrations. The Metacoin is not a suitable coin if you want to build an actual coin like an ERC20 or ERC777 contract. Go look at Open Zeppelin's implementation and inherit from them. But it is a contract with a transfer event, and you'll notice that down here in the transfer it lists, here's transfer. Here's how you emit an event. And if we go and look in migrations, you'll see that there's a to deploy. As long as it sorts in the correct order with the number at the front, it'll be fine. And they have imported these. They have done a deploy, and the deploy, the first thing that it does is it calls the constructor for your contract, which means that if you have any extra parameters out here, they go after this first thing. And that's how you pass parameters to your constructor. And the next thing is they have a test. And they have done a test both in Solidity and in JavaScript. I'm not having you do any tests in Solidity. Solidity tests are only those things that you can call in Solidity. So you can't see things like events. But they have a test in there in Solidity. Basically, when you do Truffle test, it runs all the tests in basically sorted order in the test directory. So again, you may have to name things carefully if you want them to run in a certain order. Hopefully your tests are order independent. But the test coin has a good example in it of pulling out different accounts, that's the globals that are provided to you in the testing environment, and how it does transactions and balances, and how it pokes into different things. Now, when you do these things and you get different accounts, okay, and you do a coin call like send Metacoin, you'll notice that over here it has from account 1. That from account 1 is passing that parameter as the sender for that to say this is the account that it's coming from, which becomes message sender inside the contract. And you can do other things like getting balances. You'll also notice that out here they do await and they do toNumber. toNumber allows you to access these big numbers like 256-bit integers in something that you can actually work with inside the JavaScript that only has 52 or 53 bits of accuracy, because everything in JavaScript is a floating point. So this gives you an example of everything that you need to be able to build and run a test. And I think their walkthrough is a good thing because it allows you to actually go out, see the different pieces, and run a particular test, like this truffle test, this guy right here. And that's, the basic kind of a hello world. I installed Metacoin, I walked through the things, I ran a test. I've set up a set of tools that is actually going to work for this. So if I do truffle test, this runs both the tests in the directory. Their example is to run just one test at a time, and that's in the example. But it basically is out there deploying the contracts, and it tells you what the name of the test is, test Metacoin, which is the Solidity contract, and it runs the other test after that. And you'll notice that some of those came out in this case in red because they're running a little bit too long. When you run stuff in Ethereum, each contract call, each test call has a certain amount of gas that is limited that it can use. The gas is counted as the number of instructions and the number of data operations that it does, and everything has a cost. If you run over those amounts, I think it's about, in the testing environment, it's about 240 milliseconds. If you run over that, it will just simply cancel your test and not run it. So that is so that you don't have programs that run out on the main chain that take too long to run. This is their solution to the everlasting loop problem and hanging up the entire network, is just provide a limit, and you hit the limit, it's done. In the context of truffle and testing, what this means is that if you have too long a running contract, you're going to have to figure out how to break that up into different pieces that will be successively called in different transactions. And in tests, it means that you split your tests up into smaller tests that you run independently. Now, yellow is okay, and sometimes I write things that are fast enough that they're green. You'll notice there's a couple red ones in there. You're playing with fire with red ones. So, yeah, that's kind of what it tells you, and this particular thing passed the test. This kind of a screen capture, if you just captured this and uploaded it, that would be fine for the grades. Remember, this is a hello world kind of a thing. It's go out, install some stuff, demonstrate that you got something to compile and run with Truffle, is it. It's not a creative assignment. It is an installation, system administration muck around. And you basically can't get this wrong, as provided you send me some sort of an image that shows that you ran something. And I'm not picky on what that something particularly is. This is to get your tools in place for the next assignment. So with that, I'm going to move on to the rest of the lecture today. But I wanted to just kind of walk some of those things through and let you see me run it. That's all there is to that.